Hello, good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see all of you in this session. I am Uma from UHS Enterprises. Today, I will be leading the session on how to use budgets and controls in Tally Prime. I'll go step by step. What are the budgets and how we to create budgets and how we are going to give controls in Tally Prime. We will explain you one by one. So before going to budgets in Tally, see how what are the key features of budgets in Tally Prime. So Tally Prime allows us to create multiple budgets for various business and different for various periods. And it also helps us to auto or manually allocation for allocation for ledgers, groups or cost centers depend on it, and auto distribution of the periods based on the closing balance or by the net transactions, which will be showing on the sessions in Tally directly. And Tally can generate or alert you if the transaction is exceeds in the budget. It will show in the report depending on the controls you have set. The benefits of budgeting and Tally Prime is it can help us to track expenses efficiently, and you can limit the overspending also. So you can have an enhanced financial control, and your project or department based specific budgets helps us to allocate and monitor budgets for each departments or projects for better cost management. So you can allocate your budgets based on your purchase, sales or expenses or incomes depends on your requirement. It also helps us in variance analysis to understand the deviations uh, in the budgets you have faced with the actuals what you have achieved. So before I'll just go to the Tally to show you how budgets in Tally is working on it. Hope I think everyone can see my screen. So first, how to create the budgets means before, if you are using the budgets is in Tally from ERP9 itself. You can use, if you're using a ERP9 customer also, you have budgets. If you're using a Tally Prime customer also, you have a budgets. But in Tally Prime, in ERP9, if you want, you have to press F11 and enable the budgets and controls to yes. But now as we are in updated version, and Tally is maximum now. Any updates will be coming on Tally Prime only. There is no further updates on ERP9. So I'm just showing every options which is available in Tally Prime. So to create budgets in Tally Prime, just go to create. In the top box, type budgets. Sometimes if it will be active, if it is deactivated, you have to select it to activate it. So I'm just selecting another company to show you. For example, if I select budget, sometimes it may ask you for you to reactivate. So I'm just creating one company, one data sample data to show you that. So first I'm creating a budget. For example, I'm making a budget for a November. This is not a monthly or daily basis. Based on which period you're selecting, it can be a month, it can be a year, it can be a weekly or a fortnightly. You can create your own budgets in Tally. So I'm just creating one budget for a monthly budget, and which means this period matters the reporting part. From which period to which period you are fixing, based on that, Tally can generate your reports for that particular period only, the budget variance. For example, I'm putting one budget for on November, for November month, so 3011, and to differentiate, I am putting for November sales. So when I put it one budget for my November sales, and I'll to differentiate first, I'll show you how it works for groups. So I'll just select groups, then I'll say select sales accounts, cost centers. I'm not doing, I'm using a closing balance, and I'm putting a balance of, for example, a 50,000 at target. So this amount I'm fixing for each budget for one particular sales accounts for November sales. Okay. So now when I make one, I'm making one transaction on sales invoice on the month of November to just show you how this looks. So like 15th November, I'm making one transactions. I'm selecting the sales. See, I have made one sales transactions to check the report. Okay, to check the report, you can just go to display trial balance, and I'm selecting the period from 111. The period is very important, so then only your budget can be verified. See, this is a normal sales accounts and its value is 1,800. To see the budget variance report, what is my budget and what is my comparison, there is a budget button on the right side as a budget variance. If you click that, here it will show what are the budgets we fixed. I fixed the name as November sales. So once I click this, see my budget was 50,000. I have achieved only 1,800 and the variance is 48,200 balance. Till I make the same in I make multiple invoices, or I'll just increase the invoice value to show you difference. So now my sales value is increased. See, my actual budget was 50,000 and I have achieved that is 180,000. So my actual variance is 130,000, which is increased, and it is about 260%. The percentage value also it will show. This is for the grouping. I have done it. I'm just showing the budget screen again. Alter budgets and November sales. Here I fix the budget based on the groups. So I have used the sales accounts on closing balance and 50,000. So wherever we use, where and all we use this type of budgets means comparatively for sales. If we have any sales targets, so this month our actual target was this much, and what we have achieved so far, what we have achieved for this comparative and the closing balance means we can use this method. Or for expenses, if I take like marketing expenses or all the complete expenses of a month should be this much amount only. On those cases also you can use a group. For this group we can fix this amount. Normally for the why we are fixing for the group means any ledgers you use under this group, it will come under this budgets. It will show you the variance for including all the ledgers in the groups. It will be taken as a consideration and it will show it not only one sales account. If you have multiple sales, export sales, if you have local sales, cash sales, credit sales, deviation also, the total values are calculated accordingly, and that it will show in the budget report separately also. So there is another one called net transactions, which I will show you. Suppose instead of 50,000, I have made a transaction. Instead of closing balance, I have made the this one for 50,000. Okay, on net transactions. On net transaction means this is for the period of 1 month. Okay, in the 1 month I have allocated for 50,000. Suppose if you are seeing the budget for only 20 days or 15 days means the value will be proportionally divided by the number of days. Then it will calculate the budgets based on that. For example, I have made it for on net transactions and I made it 50,000 budget. And I'll go to the same sales invoice which I made, and I'm making a sales invoice to differentiate. So for example, I'm 250 and I have made a sale of 11,250. So when I go to trial balance, display trial balance, see I'm taking the first pair, I had to correct the period. So I'm just checking for 3011 means if you take for the whole period, it will be whole amount of 50,000 will be coming for the variance. But I am checking only for specific period, that is about only for 2011. Then so for the how many for 2011 for 20 days only it will take the budget value. On that it will compare it to the actual. So I'll again go to the budget variance and I'll say the November sales. See, instead of 50,000, it has taken only as for 20 days, it will be 33,333. So, and the achieved is 11,250, then still 22,000 has to be achieved. So, the budget value will be calculated on two bases. One is on closing balance, another is on by net transactions. On closing balance means the whole amount is taken as the consideration for the period. Then against that, what you achieved actually and what is the variance, it will show in tally. And if it is an on net transaction means for the proportionally it will divide it for the number of days. Based on the number of days, it will calculate as a budget. Against that budget, what we actually made entries, balances, it will compare it and will show you budget variance. These are two types of budgets we have. One is on closing balance. or on net transactions. I will show you another budget. For example, same for November. I'll make one expenses for ledgers. So I'll create one ledger, one budget for November expenses. So instead of I'm going for groups, I'm going now for ledgers. So I'll just try for ledgers and I'll say marketing expenses and excluding on closing balance or on net transactions. Here also the case is same. On closing balance you're fixing, or on net transactions if you're fixing, you can fix it. And I'm fixing a value for 2000. And another expenses like telephone charges on net transactions, same it is for 2000. Okay. Now I'm making one expenses to show you. So I'm just taking one bank. Some charges of 350 and marketing expenses of 1200. This one entries I have made it. So to see the report again, we'll go to display, trial balance, and I'll say the period. So 111 to 3011, and I'll take the budget variance F10, and I'll select the November expenses. So see here, marketing expenses I have fixed for 2000, and the amount is for 1200, which is the actual, but the variance is 800. Same way for the telephone charges, it is coming as 2000 because the full month I have selected, and this 350 has been achieved, and I have been actually made expenses. Still 1650 has to be done. The same one I am changing the period to just for 20 days. So 111 to 2011, and again I'm selecting the budget variance, and I'll select November sales. For the net transactions, we have to make a separate budgets for Tally in Tally. So okay, then I'll create one separate budget for ledgers. $11 telephone charges on a transaction. I make it for 2000. So now I'll check the trial balance. So I'll select it for 111 to 2011, and I select the budget November trial balance. See, so Tally calculates for 20 days. What is the budget? 1333, and what is actually it is made is 350. What is the variance is 983. So we have to create budgets, closing balances separately, and net transactions. If you are calculating by that, you have to create a separately to differentiate in the reports. Same way, the budgets can be created for multiple ways like groups, ledgers, as well as cost centers. For example, in groups also, if you want to define by group name as well as by the cost centers name, you can define it. But in Tally Prime, after the release, there is a bug is there for cost centers. Tally is not showing the trial balance. So for example, I'm just showing one cost center example. See, I made one cost center budget, and I fixed for October cost centers. I fixed for one particular ledger like AB3 cost centers. I fixed for one cost center. I made it for 1500 expenses. I made a budget for it. To see this particular cost center report, I have to go to display, statements of accounts, cost centers, and select the cost centers. If you select the cost centers and you select your period, and you can select the budget variance, and you can select the what is the budget. This report had some bugs which is not resolved by Tally. Once it is resolved, we will give you the latest release. This has been informed. This type of cost centers you can fix it for projects and all. You can fix a budget against the budget. What is actually you made it and what is the variance you can see in this report. But for cost centers alone, Tally has a bug. It is still not has not been resolved. Once it is there, we will intimate you and we'll keep a session to explain you on that. Okay, then we'll go to how to use credit limits in Tally. So we all know Tally has credit limits in Tally Prime. And what is the use of it is it helps the business to control about the customer's credit exposures, and we can set a credit limit and we can find against the sales and outstanding balances do not exceed the allowed limit, thereby reducing the risk of bad debts. And the benefits of setting the credit limits is prevents excessive credit exposure. So it keeps the tracks of outstanding balances and prevents overcommitting credits. So we can track it by the while making sales invoice as well as in the outstandings also. And it helps us to manage the cash flow, assist in controlling overdue receivables and maintaining a healthy cash flow. So it also enforces financial discipline, creates an alert mechanism to keep your sales team aware of outstanding issues. I'll just show you the screen, how the credit limits is working in Tally. So I'll create one customer to explain you how the sales ledger is working. So for example, I create one company called Simple Company, and here there is an option called credit limit. But some companies they don't have this options. For this, what they have to do is just press F12 and give this show more configuration and show all configuration to yes. Once you made this two option yes, you have an option called provide credit limits. Here, this option has to be made yes. So this will help you to give this option in the entry screen of the ledger itself, this specified credit limit option. Sometimes users doesn't want to see here, but you can it can also be hidden over in the more details. If you made this option to no, still it will be in the more details. If you click on the more details, you can see the option called credit limit. Both the places you can have this option of credit limit. So I'm fixing a credit limit of 100,000 for this customer, and I'm making a transaction yes. Regarding override credit limit, I will explain you. Okay. When you make one sales invoice against the company name, see here itself it shows what is your credit limit. So I'm having a credit limit of 100,000. So I'm just making an invoice against this customer. So 2,500. 200. So my amount is 512,500. So when I make invoice, it will not allow me to move. See that it will show you here as your credit limit of company is 100,000 only, but you have exceeded the credit limit. Even if you make multiple invoices, so on the last invoice, when you make it, and if it is exceeding the credit limit, Tally will not allow you to move forward against the date. It is a control, it is not a warning message. Without the, either you have to, if you want to move ahead, either you have to increase the credit limit or you have to revise your invoices as per the limit. So suppose if I'm making an invoice for 25,000, see, it will allow me. Or you have to increase the credit limit. This is credit limit of all ledgers. ledgers. So this credit limit, once you again, when you're making invoice, it will show what is your customer's balance, current balance over here, and what is your credit limit allowed over here. Again, next time I'm using in same making another invoice. So again, my credit limit may exceed. See, the credit limit will be blocked.
I have one doubt.
Yeah.
Can we give credit limit for different projects, separate project? It's acceptable, that one, the software.
So credit limits are based on the customers only, not by the projects. It can be defined in the customer master only, not in the projects.
For example, the same customer doing, for example, not customer, sub-consultants we have.
Yeah, okay.
So they will do multiple projects.
Mm.
So in different project, different credit limit will be there.
So projects
So
where you
like
are
that,
creating,
sorry?
projects you are creating in the ledger or in the cost centers.
Yeah, ledger only. Sorry,
Ledger
cost
means
center. Project,
cost.
yeah,
Let us
project
know.
with cost center. Yeah,
Cost centers means cost centers we cannot create a credit limit. Only for the ledger so far in Tally we have.
okay, right.
Okay, sir. Same way we have another option called credit days control also is there. So again, I'll select the same company and I can fix like how many days of credit. So if I get, for example, I put a 30 days credit means, okay, when I make an invoice on the same, for example, same date I'm doing means it will not show you a message. But if I make an invoice on after 25 days, after 30 days, when you make invoice, it will show. For example, simple company, 30 days. Let me see the outstanding of this. So 40 days outstanding is there. And for this ledger, it is not showing. Sorry, I had to give this option. Check for credit days during voucher entry to be yes. So when you make this yes, it will prompts you if there is an outstanding bills. So I'll select simple company. See, Tally will say how many bills are outstanding for this company. But this is not a control, it's just a warning message. For example, I'll select again a different customer. How many bills are outstanding? It will show here. See, it will show how many bills are outstanding for this before proceeding the invoice. But this is a warning message only. It will not control you not to make invoice. Okay. This is the credit days available in Tally. Other than this, there is an option called overdue days, post dated transactions override. So when I say for credit limit, I'll enable the credit limits option here. See here, there is an option called override credit limit using post dated vouchers. Suppose if you have post dated vouchers against this particular customer and you want to allow the customer to make invoice if there is any post dated checks are received means Tally will allow you if you make this option yes. See, for example, I'm making one invoice for this particular customer. See, normally Tally will not allow you to make the invoice as the credit limit is exceeded. Okay. For the same customer, I am making one PDC on a specific date. For example, I'm doing 112 a PDC entry, bank, selecting, and I'm making an invoice for 1 million. One receipt I'm making on against 1 million. Now I make invoice on 25/11, the same customer. So the limit is 200,000. So I'm making invoice for 250,000. So normally it will not allow, but in this case it will allow because we have a PDC check against this customer, which is pending for clearing. If we have this option can be enabled in the ledger master. The ledger master, if you say override credit limit using post-dated transaction, yes, it will consider the post-dated checks as a as an updated outstanding, and it will allow or disallow your credit limit entry while making entries, while making sales invoices.
We hope this session has given you a clear understanding of Tally Prime budgets and controls and its benefits. Thank you.